Hi, how's it going? Been a while. I know. So the other day, I was thinking about all the things that I had created over this past year, and I decided that I think it would be a good idea to create a year in review video, and that's essentially what this is. So I'm going to be going over everything that I've worked on and created this year, and just talk a little bit about it. Um, it's a long video. I apologize. I've worked on a lot of cool stuff this year, and I'm really excited to show you guys the process of some of the stuff that I've worked on, and just in general, just things that I worked on but never ended up actually like showing off to anyone, or only showed off to like a couple of people. So, yeah. In this video, I'll be going over majority of it is City of Sound stuff. I've been developing that, continued to develop it. I just haven't posted a lot of it on YouTube. Um, I have a small section of just random things that projects that I worked on. Um, I built multiple games this year. Haven't really shown any of them off. Felt like this was a good opportunity to show those off. And then I got a very small section of Earthbound 64 models that I worked on this year, and I know some of you guys would really like to see some of that stuff. So let's get right into it. So this is a image, a comparison of all of the Alex models I've made, 2018, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And in general, this was just showing the progression of how the main character for City of Sound has started to evolve, and it's just better. This was a New Year's screenshot that I did for New Year's of 2024. This was fantastic. I believe in December of 2023, I was finishing up working on this apartment environment, and I actually showed it off in January of 2024. So, right before I showed it off, I did this photo. This was really fun. I got to do fireworks particle effects in the background. That was really cool. Big fan of this one. Um, these are just a bunch of images I took of the apartment with posing and stuff like that, different ones. Very, very happy with how this whole thing turned out. It was a lot of work, and it was worth it. This is footage of the apartment, so this is gameplay footage, setting up cameras as well as a controller with animations and stuff like that. It's not long. I've already posted this on my YouTube channel, but I've included it here. This was really, really fun to develop and make, and I hope to continue to make more environments like this. This apartment area that I made, it's the starting area of the game, and it was one of the first things that I worked on and felt it was finished, because since it is the starting area, I feel it's early on one of the earliest things I could have worked on and finished. This is art of a character named Jessica, who is going to be in City of Sound. A good friend of mine on Twitter made this art. I didn't make this art myself. I got it commissioned, and that has allowed me to make my character models better. Here's a comparison of all the different Jessica models over the years. Obviously, the best one I feel is the one on the far right, and just a really cool progression. There's the model just by itself. This one, I was coming up with her casual outfit, and this process was really cool. I'm not the best 2D artist, but I found a way around it. So essentially, what I did with these, and I end up doing more of this later on this video. I basically took an image of the 3D model and then I drew on top of it for alternate outfits, and that worked really, really well. In this case, in particular, I was looking on what color palette was the best. I ended up going with B, which here's the actual finished model of that with the color palette and everything. Really happy how this turned out. This model was really, really fun. This is another video that I worked on this year. It was Lightroom. I was trying to figure out how to do sound effects and doing more dynamic camera angles and stuff like that. That was kind of really the purpose of it. Um, it was fun. I originally wanted the animation to be way longer, but I lost motivation, and I was like, "Yeah, it's good. It's good the way it ended. I don't need to add anything." Yeah. The creature you see in the background actually went through different iterations. So this is a sketch of the original design that I had. It was kind of loosely based off of a creature from a stop motion animation movie called Mad God. And as you can see here in the model, I originally had it have eyes, but I felt the eyes made it look a little too goofy. So I decided to remove the eyes and then just do no eyes. I felt that made it look more creepy. This was a real challenge because I had to rig and animate this thing, and it had a giant mouth as well as 6 arms with fingers, and that was a very difficult challenge. But oh, and a tongue. Yeah, it had the whole tongue or whatever. I also used Substance Painter to do the textures, and that was really fun. Just in general, very big fan of this. This was a very fun experiment, and just a lot of the time when I create something, I'm usually doing it to learn a certain aspect of art or game design or something like that. This is a animation that I started working on and didn't finish. Um, it uses the song "Bliss" by Gollum, I believe. Um, I love this animation so far. It was so good. Them running down the hallway, I was a big fan of that. But it ends up just kind of falling apart at the end because I really wasn't able to animate exactly what I wanted it to do. This was fun though because this was the first time I had animated. I had tried animating essentially more than like 1 or 2 characters at a time in the same area, and that was really fun to try and figure out. In particular, I wrote a script for this where when Alex falls through the air vent, all the characters are looking at him, and then when he finally turns around, they kind of like look away or whatever. So that was a script of them actually looking at Alex, which was cool to code that I got to figure out. Some of you might remember this enemy. This is Moonman. This is an older version of Moonman. I was in the process of this year of creating the new model. And the first step that I did is I basically, when Dolly 3E was really big, like just starting out, I was like, well, maybe I could use this for concept art or something like that. So that's what I did, and that's what these 2 images are, is of just basically what the Moonman character could kind of look like, and then I built off of that. I only got to working on the head. This is a block out of the head, way more visually detailed with the cheeks and the eyelids and the lips and noses. It's just way more detailed than the previous model. Um, this was an early texturing and shading in Unity that I did. It's a funny image. I think it's really funny. It's kind of creepy and weird. I like it. But this was a shader test I was doing. This is a more of a finalized version. I got like the hatching of in the shading. That's kind of really what I was trying to do, trying to get it to look like that kind of old storybook type of thing. I'm satisfied with this. I might end up changing some aspects of it, but in the meantime, this is good. I like it. The eyes also move. That was a big thing that was new. I eventually want to do different mouth shapes and stuff so he can talk and stuff like that, which I think will be cool. I haven't built any of the rest of the model yet. I got distracted and moved on to something else. I hopefully will be able to go back, and I will go back and eventually finish the model and with the body and the arms and legs and hands and stuff like that. But This was, I think I made this stuff in 2023, kind of, but I didn't show it off until 2024. Um, these are mock-ups for levels, Red Door levels for City of Sound. This is a three-dimensional crossword puzzle level. Um, I hope to get these levels in the final game. I still have all these assets and stuff like that, so I will be continuing. I want to use them still. This was just cool and fun. I really enjoyed it. It's an idea that I've had for a very long time, and I'm really happy that I was able, like, all these dream levels. I'm really excited about them visually. I can't wait to actually start getting in and programming the levels and doing level design. But right now, they're mostly just visual, kind of like concept pieces essentially. This one's also really cool. This is Sand World. I also called it Piss World because it looks like it has a giant piss filter on it. Um, the whole idea was that it's supposed to be like reminiscent of like Call of Duty early 2000s games where they try and go for this really desaturated hyper realistic visual style. Um, so I was kind of going for something like that. This one was cool. I just enjoyed it a lot. If you notice, there's a bunch of little tiny stone creatures everywhere. And so I have those models made. This scene also in particular is really cool because the clouds move. It's an image, so you can't really see it. I never took any footage of it before I lost this level. I have all the assets still, but I'd have to go back and recreate it. But the clouds move, and then there's large amounts of dust blowing through the environment. So it looks kind of foggy, but that's actually dust. Um, and then the grass that you see in the environment actually is blowing in the wind as well. And I used a terrain mesh from Unity to, build that out. That was really fun. Um, this one I was gonna end up maybe using for another music video, but it never ended up working out. This was really cool. I got to mess with shaders. There's that black ooze slime shader. That was cool. All this stuff, the slime was like moving around and it was being manipulated. So that was really cool. It was also dripping, right? That was cool. Um, Big fan of the other textures I made, like the sand and stuff like that as well. This was cool because if you notice, there's a bunch of Alexes in the background. They're actually using ragdolls. So those are ragdolls. I wanted to figure out how to do ragdolls, so I looked up some stuff and got it to work, and that's where they are. I want to keep using ragdolls in the future. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. It'll happen eventually. Um, this is another dream level. I was trying to go for a liminal pool, like liminal space pool type of thing. This one's way more open. I might end up for this level have it be all like inside rather than have like a sky or something like that. This was cool. I messed around with the water shader. Um, I used Substance Painter or Substance Sampler, I believe, to get the tiles and stuff like that, and that worked out really great. I started getting really good at proportions with male and female. That was one of the big thing that I wanted to focus on, was getting more realistic proportions. So I was using that similarly for these like shiny black female characters. This is David. This is an old model of David. He's meant to be in the game for forever now, since the inception of City of Sound. And as I'm going back and updating a bunch of character models and stuff like that, this was one of the characters that I wanted to update. Once again, I got concept art footage. Concept art of the character, and I really love this art, and I decided to end up making a 3D model, and there it is. I feel like I changed some things and some proportions to get it to work in 3D, but I'm really satisfied and happy visually of how the character turned out. The next thing, this was a quick animation that I worked on and did. Uh, I was just trying to figure out some way to show off Alex's personality in a quick animation. He's kind of a hothead, angry dude, where it kind of usually like blows up in his face type of thing. So that was one way that I was going about doing it. I was also trying to figure out how to animate with props, right? Animating with props, that was a new thing that I had to figure out and do. So yeah, I'm a big fan of, not the best animation I've ever done, but I had fun doing it. It was fun. I also learning how to do the effects, right? The stomping effect. I do it completely different now that I've learned more. But trial and error. That's kind of one of the main things you got to figure out. This. Okay, so we talked about how I was doing character concepts. Alex is going to have different outfits you can get throughout the game, and I wanted to actually do some art of it. So we have, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 10 or 11 or 12 different outfits. I'm planning on making almost all of these. A lot of them I do have finished. But I went through a bunch of different variations in color palettes and stuff like that. Here is a model of some of the outfits that I have finished. We got a bomber jacket one where he's in pajamas and he's all kind of dirty. The middle one's where he's in his work outfit, kind of start the game as that one. This next one is a security outfit. I won't spoil story, but something like that ends up happening. And this last one is just kind of like a dress shirt type of outfit type of thing. I'm a big fan of the boots that are used in these outfits. I really like how those boots look. That was really fun to make. And the cool part is that this is using the same rig, but I'm reskinning a new mesh on top of it, so it works with all the animations that I had. Here are some NPC designs that I've made. I have more coming. I'm developing male NPC designs. I'm going to do some child NPC designs. I'm also going to do some more obese NPCs. So we have a nice variety of different body types and ethnicities and stuff like that. But this one's just the female one for now. I need to actually go and model, texture and model these, as right now they're just only in a concept art stage. This part was cool. I was trying out what should the text boxes look like for City of Sound, and I wanted to try as many different types as possible. First one wasn't really based on anything. It was just an idea that I had. The second one, I was basing it more off of the game Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Third one, I don't know. I wasn't Persona. Was not Persona, but ended up kind of looking like Persona. This is the one that I really kind of settled on and really liked, was this speech bubble thing with the name as a separate one. There was this other one where it was more of like a bubble at the bottom, but I honestly really like the one where it's more of a speech bubble. I also had a separate one where it, outline, and we have a white outline also, and that one didn't look as good. And then we also have images for like things that you interact with. So, talking with NPCs will have the speech bubble, but when you're checking an object in the environment, that'll be a different one. So there's this one, and then there's another one. I prefer the one that doesn't have the white outline. Here is also a just HUD in general. Got money HUD with the health, name of the character, notes, that type of thing. Doing a lot of UI design and stuff like that. All right, so this is the big one. This is me developing the City of Sound battle system. I haven't shown off anything publicly until now. I'm going to show you the process of how I went about creating this battle system and demo, essentially. So it won't make sense until we actually see the battle system, but this is a test of spawning objects and getting to the player, essentially. I'm using the Moonman model as a test mesh. So this was the first instance of getting objects synced up to music and coming at the player. The song that I'm using here is Do It All the Time by I don't know how, but they found me. Good song. And this is the song that I've been working with for a couple of months now, just to try and get it to work, just in general. Gameplay will make more sense once you actually see the actual demo, but this is generally how the battle system will work functionally. essentially. You can move left to right and duck and jump and dodge objects to the melody of, stuff. So this screenshot was me. I was in a work in progress. I had gotten the everything programming wise finished, and it was time to start going in and doing an art pass of the battle system. And that's what this is. The character that you're fighting in the battle system is this robot character named the robotic office worker, and it's set in the battle. This battle in particular is just set in an office area. So I was, doing that and modeling it out and texturing and that type of thing. This was just a screenshot that I had while I was in the process of working on it. I didn't end up using. I made about 10 different carpet designs that were all red and yellow and orange, but I ended up going with basically just like a solid color because I ended up looking much nicer and it had a lot less noise. I showed off this image, and this was basically. It's funny because this was the battle system level, but the image itself has nothing to do with the battle system at all. I'm just in general a really big fan of that. I was wandering around in this environment, and I really liked this ceiling texture that I had, as well as all the office equipment and stuff like that. So I am going to let the battle system play and show off the battle demo that I created, I think, July of 2024, and that I had people playtest. So please enjoy this footage, and I'll kind of let it do its own.
Fight! We're taking over the world, one kiss at a time, and then I'm taking your gold, and I'm making it mine. No reason why I'm only doing anything I
So that was basically the battle system. The way it works is you every time you dodge an object, you have a meter that fills up, and then you're able to attack with the amount that you have filled up. If you walk into an object, you take damage, and then of course you can punch and deal damage to the enemy, and also destroy certain objects and stuff like that. For me, functionally, this is probably about 90% done. There's some very small things that I would like to get fixed and changed, but I feel it's in a really good state, and I'm willing to finally show off the battle system at this point. I'll upload a video of my playthrough of the battle system, just in general, as a separate video. So if you want to go check out that one in particular, without having to go, scroll through this whole giant video. So, robotic office worker. I just call him Ro to abbreviate. But this is essentially a character that I've had in the back burner for a while now. This is an old model of Ro. And since I was doing up the battle system with this character, I needed a new model. And that's what this is. This is the new model of Ro. Some things that I changed, some things that I added. I much more like the newer model rather than the older one. Here is a quick image. I actually had this play tested by a bunch of people. I've had it play tested a bunch. I've gotten some good feedback and stuff like that. The version that they're playing is actually an older version than the one that you guys have seen in this video. So that was really fun to do. I got a lot of feedback, and I felt I was going in the right direction just in general. All right. I did a bunch of character concept art, and I felt I should try my hand at doing some item and food concept art. So that's what this is. Got a bunch of different cool things: sandwiches, pickles, pizza, sopapillas, pot stickers, fried pineapple, donuts, hot dogs, the works. So this was really fun to do. I wanted to see if I could draw concept art and then take all that information and make it into actual 3D models. And that's what I did. These are models of the concept art that I just showed, and I feel a lot of them have turned out really, really well. You'll be able to use food items in City of Sound, so that's kind of a big aspect. So I'm really glad with how this turned out. Here is also some notes. These are collectibles that you'll get in game. I had an older version of these models. These are newer, so made those. They also were animated, where they scale up and down and spin, and they're also like shiny and stuff like that too. So really happy with how those turned out. This is the money test. So I have a particular way that I want money to physically work in the environment, and I decided to try and code that. And I got it working perfectly. This is exactly the way that I want money to work in my game. It kind of bounces around, and you got to run around and pick it up. Has sound effects. Also, if you walk close to it, there's like a vacuum element where you can get sort of close to it and you suck it up. The dollar bills are actually lighter than the coins, and the coins will actually explode and bounce everywhere, as you can see. I'm really happy with how that turned out. That was really fun to code and everything. This is a screenshot of the current world map that I'm developing for City of Sound. It is large. I'm continuing to work on it. I've kind of stopped momentarily until we get more programming done, and then I'm going to continue working on it. This is a very early block out of the world map, and a lot of it isn't even finished yet. Here's a food truck model that I am in the process of actually texturing at this point. It's fully modeled on the outside and on the inside. There's a bunch of stuff in there that I don't have photos of right now, which is like of grills and sinks and cabinets and stuff like that. So this is a food truck that Floyd and David have, and they use it in the game. I can't wait to get this model done and animate it and do some cool stuff with it. So stay tuned for that. This was a dream level that I was working on, and I just couldn't get this idea and picture out of my mind. So I decided, sit down, I'll develop it, I'll figure it out, and just threw it together. This was really, really fun because I had to create a custom shader for the whole psychedelic, like, colored background type of thing. It was really really fun to develop. I essentially built like a magma shader and then manipulated it a lot so it would do what I wanted to. And here's footage of the shader. This was a test. I was trying to get smoke working. Alex smokes cigarettes in the game and drinks alcohol because he's a bad boy type of thing. But I was trying to get the smoke particle to work, and I developed a lot of particles this year, trying to understand how to do that. So this is him just walking around. The bar environment and smoking a cigarette. The bar environment I made couple of years ago at this point. Um, but I really like how the cigarette and the smoke turned out. It was fantastic. Really happy with how that looks. This environment is of a church. It is a possible set piece level that will exist in the game. I'm not 100% certain if it'll look like this. Probably not. I was trying to get a more complex architecture down, learning how to do that. This was just about a couple of hours work that I had done. Very quickly, I threw something together just to see how to get it to look. I was going to possibly end up using this for a music video, but my time became kind of short, so I wasn't able to work on it as much as I would have liked to. But still really happy with how it looks. This is a screenshot I did for Halloween. Fall, that whole aspect. I love that type of weather. We got leaf particles and lights and stuff like that. And of course, Alex in one of his alternate outfit, as well as alternate actually weapons. So his gloves are his weapons, and he's wearing like leather gloves essentially. So this was a really cool environment to do. I threw it together really quickly, but I really enjoy it. This is really funny. This is me, of course. I was trying to get reference for a posing I was trying to do of Alex, and I couldn't find any good reference photos, so I ended up getting up and taking a photo of myself and using it as a reference photo. And this is, of course, the photo that I ended up making that I needed that pose. It's not a one-to-one of the pose because I ended up, manipulating things and getting it to look better, but this whole photo was about understanding how I could get punching effects to look, right? You got the trail of him punching with the punch explosion effect and then the text. How should all that look? That's what the purpose of this image was. I was trying to also make it a little bit more stylish with the borders and everything like that, but I really like how this turned out. It looked great. This is a short animation that I did of Alex smoking a cigarette and drinking some beer at a bar. The part of him sitting down and getting on the stool, that was really cool and fun to animate. The whole purpose of this was trying to get swapping between props in the environment and Alex holding props, right? As well as particle effects, right? Because you see the whole smoke particle effect, and when he blows smoke after he's done, taking a whiff of his cigarette, type of thing. This was really cool. I just kind of threw it together in a couple of hours. It was fun to do. I really like this one. It was great. This is a video of NPCs. So, crowd simulation, essentially. Getting a bunch of NPCs to walk around and wander, type of thing. That was kind of the whole purpose of this. Um, there's also some cars on the side, but those are just kind of test objects, so that's not the key focus of this. Same thing with the train. That is also a test object. But all the NPCs wandering around and doing stuff, it was learning how to do that. How to do that with the nav mesh and making sure that they don't walk into the street or walk into the buildings and stuff like that. So that was the whole purpose of this. The cool part also is they spawn randomly. So every time you load up the scene, it'll spawn a random assortment of NPCs that I have pre-built out. So that was really fun. So at the very end of this past year in December, I took a trip to Chicago, as that is where City of Sound is set, and I took a ton of reference photos, like too many, about 2,000 reference photos. These are just a couple. I'm quickly going through these because there are so many, and there's so many I'm not even showing. So a lot of architecture and food and different places and stuff like that, which I all intend to model and copy and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot more architecture hopefully in the future that we'll be seeing going forward. It was fantastic. I loved the trip. Can't wait to go back to Chicago. Love that place. And of course, here's me walking around in the snow, enjoying the weather. While I was there, it snowed, and I was able to get footage and photos as well. So that was really cool. Just loved it. Absolute wonderful experience. So much inspiration. Can't wait to add so much of it to the game. So this was one of the very last things that I worked on this year, which is snow. So the character is able to walk around and is influencing the snow. This was one of those things that I never thought I'd ever be able to figure out how to do or get working, and I did, and I'm really happy that I did because I love it. That's the way I've always wanted to get snow working in City of Sound, and I can't wait to do more cool effects like that just in general. So that's basically all the City of Sound stuff that I developed this year. It's a lot, I know. I'm going to be developing even more, and this is I'm being pretty transparent here with almost everything that I showed off in this video. I worked on. There's some minor stuff that I haven't shown off yet, simply because I feel it's kind of spoiler type of thing, or it's not the best finished or something like that. Or I started working on it in 2025, which is this current year. But I am really happy with all the progress City of Sound has gotten so far, and will continue to. I'm not stopping development anytime soon at all. If anything, we're just getting started, and it's really starting to come together. I feel like I'm on the verge of being able to really develop this game. Not to mention that I have a large, at this point now, I have a large library of assets, animations, and just knowledge in general for developing video games. And so, man, I just can't wait to show you guys the game. Like, it's just, oh, I'm just, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. I can't wait to show it. So, now we're getting to another part. So that's basically all the City of Sound stuff. This is everything else I developed this year, which is not as much as the City of Sound stuff, but still a lot. So uh, let's get into that because there's some cool stuff in here as well. So, still slightly City of Sound related, but I ended up modding Bomb Rush Cyberpunk this year. Believe January or February, I ended up putting my characters in Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, just simply because I wanted to, I wanted to see how they would be in that game because that game is by far one of my favorite games of all time. Cell shaded style, kind of 3D platforming, very similar to City of Sound. So I wanted to throw them in there, and that was really, really, really fun. If I ever figure out how to import levels, I will try and import City of Sound levels into Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. But I was able to get all four characters in: Alex, Lynn, Amber, and Floyd. And some of them actually have alternate outfits in game, but I don't. There's so much I'm covering in this video that I left that stuff out. This was a test to model out muscles. That's something I kind of lean more to cartoony rather than I do realistic, and this was trying to understand muscles and get muscles down to get look at more anatomy wise, right? I did like calf muscles and feet muscles and like biceps and stuff like that. It was really fun to do. I learned so much. I did it in a lower poly style, so I didn't have to spend as much time. Because essentially, what I would do is if I took this model and just smoothed it out a bit, it would actually end up looking pretty realistic, which was cool. So that was really fun to work on. This was a spy model that I made early on this year. I really love the artist Robert Valley. He worked on stuff like Tron, Uprising, and some Love, Death, and Robots shorts, and as well as like Gorillas music videos and stuff like that. He's a great artist. If you don't know him, go check out Robert Valley. He's fantastic. But I was trying to create basically a spy in that kind of style. I really like long proportions, so that's kind of what I was doing. Very strong silhouette was what I was trying to attempt here, and this was fun. I threw it together in a couple of hours. It was really fun to do. A lot of the time, I'll just randomly model something because I'm like, I just need to model this type of thing. This is a dune buggy that I modeled. Um, Alex is writing in it. It's not meant for City of Sound. I just needed a character to be proportionate, so I threw Alex in there. I really wanted to model a dune buggy for some reason, so here's a dune buggy. This was a model that I made. I think I was trying to get better at texturing here. It's a long skeleton, like Tim Burton style type of thing. This is really cool. The whole model's texture is one giant texture sheet instead of being multiple textures, which is really cool. He's fully rigged, which means he can be animated. Overall, was really, really fun to do. Always a big fan of skeletons, so he was really fun to make. So, this is footage of another game that I've been wanting to develop for a very long time called Six Underground. This is really, really early footage of what that game could look like. I threw this stuff together because I was trying to. A lot of these next projects are basically me trying to get better at programming, just in general. And I achieved a lot of programming during this year. But game is essentially kind of like an F-Zero Star Fox type of mix type of thing. So you can run around and shoot things, and it's supposed to look all mode 7 like, which was what I was trying to attempt to do. But movement, shooting, health, all that type of stuff, even the jumping. Had to figure out how to code all that stuff. So this was really fun. This is only one half of the game, essentially. This is the character model that I did. So the game is supposed to have pre-rendered graphics. I never really got around super much for a lot of the graphics. I was focusing more on programming at this point. But this was a test model that of a player character that I was going for like a pre-rendered graphics type of thing. Here are some test sprites. So half of the game is a F-Zero type of game, and the other half is a isometric dungeon crawler. So these were some test sprites that I had made. Here is a that pre-rendered character I was talking about configured into sprites. So that was really fun. I got to really learn how to do pre-rendered sprites. The process of modeling, animating everything, and then rendering out, and then shrinking everything, and making sure everything is sized proportionately with each other so it works. That's something that was difficult. This is footage of the actual isometric dungeon crawling type of thing, and I really like a lot of the animations that I did on this character and the environment in general. I actually went back and got SGI textures to use for the isometric pre-rendered graphics to really give it that feel, The hardest part of developing this, believe it or not, was not the movement. It wasn't any of that. It was stacking the sprites correctly. So, when the character goes behind an object, that they're not on top of the object that they went behind. It's a stacking thing, and it was something really, really difficult that I had to figure out. And great opportunity to learn. I absolutely. This was really fun to create. I'll maybe one day go back and eventually continue developing this. Who knows? We'll see about it. Oh yes, and he also has sprites of him pulling out a gun and firing. He doesn't actually shoot anything, but I was getting those animations and sprites working and that whole type of thing. This was an absolutely wonderful learning experience, and it was so much fun to develop. I'll come back to developing it. All right, this is Pegle. I was driving home from work one day, and I was like, "Man, I think I could develop Pegle in a night." So that's what I did. I sat down and programmed Pegle, and I got it working basically almost one to one to Pegle, and yeah, it's Peggle. I mean, there's not really too much else. You got a limited number of balls. Each block peg thing is a number of points. If you miss, you lose a ball, and then you can actually get a ball back by if you touch the little basket that moves side to side. So, yeah, this was really fun. I don't know if I'll end up doing anything with this, but I have a rudimentary Peggle engine in Unity now that I made. So, who knows? We'll see how that goes. So, this project is called Little Shits. And one night I randomly had this idea of this cursed game, and that's what this is. Basically, you gotta corral these little tiny creatures, and the whole game is corralling them into a box, the green box, essentially. They're really, really annoying because when you walk up, they scream and then run away. This was cool because this was the first time I actually 2D animated something, even though the animation isn't necessarily like the most clean or anything. I got an opportunity to learn how to 2D animate and how to use a 2D animation program. So that was really fun, and as well as working with, AI systems. So please enjoy the rest of the footage of Little Shits. So, this is a 2D platformer that I made this year. Some of you might not know this, but I'm actually a professor at a community college, and I teach video game development now at this point. I know, we've come a long way from me doing modeling streams to me actually teaching people. Crazy, huh? I had a level design class, and they needed a... what is it called? They needed a modular level design system. They needed a template essentially to create 2D levels because there wasn't a good one that was out there. So over the summer I was like, why not? I'll make my own. So this was really fun to develop. There's a dash ability. You can break boxes. You can take damage. You have 3 hearts. You can heal yourself back. There's enemies, moving platforms, moving buzzsaws, one-way platforms. There's an end goal. It was really fun. I learned so much from developing it. None of the sprites or visual aspect is mine. I had just grabbed a bunch of assets from the Unity store just to use those because I had a very limited amount of time to develop this. So it was really, really fun to make, and I'll probably continue updating it as I go and teach more in community college. So, this game needs a little bit of explaining. This is Darl Ball. It's kind of a morbid, dark humor type of game. It's kind of like, I can't remember the name of the game. It's where you roll around and like, get things and become bigger. Kind of Mario or something like that. But instead of this one, you roll around and kill pedestrians. It's kind of morbid. I was trying to learn... I don't know. I was just trying to make a game in a very short period of time. This took a day to make, and I programmed the whole rollerball movement system with camera controls. I also really wanted to develop destruction, so you're able to run into trees, fire hydrants, cars, buildings, that type of thing. And of course, all the little pedestrians that see you scream and then run away as you roll over them. This also includes a lot of sound effects, right? There's like a trifacto in developing a game where you need the programming, that's the core, then animation, then like particles and sound. And if you're able to get all of that combined, you're able to start creating a game that seems more polished, essentially. So that's what this was. Don't ask me. I don't know. I was just having fun, and I was bored one day, and I made it. This was an idea that I had for a very long time. I might end up releasing this eventually. I also might do a cooperative mode if I ever figure out how to program something like that. But, yeah. That's Darl Ball. So, a lot of stuff that I programmed and worked on that was outside of City of Sound this year. Uh, I went from barely learning programming at all this year to being able to prototype games at this point. 2D platformers, the Pegle game, the 3D rollerball game, right? Enemy AI, all that type of stuff. And I'm only continuing to learn. And I'm so excited because I hopefully will end up being able to develop something small and release it so you guys could play that. That should be fun. If there's any game in particular that you saw here and were like, oh man, that was really cool, post it in the comments. I'd love to know. A lot of this stuff I haven't really shown off publicly, so feedback is always great. Anything, regardless, like anything in this entire video, if you saw something, I think this could have been a little bit differently or something like that, I 100% want to know your feedback, because feedback always helps me. But, so, developed a lot of side projects, models, all that good stuff. Now we're going on the last section, which is the smallest out of the three, which is the Earthbound 64 stuff. So let's get right into that. I didn't spend as much time this year on Earthbound 64 stuff, simply because it's no longer my main focus, just in general. So let's get to it. So I ended up remaking and remodeling the Drago model from scratch, and I did this really nice scale texture on it. That was something I was really proud of, and it was really fun to make because I feel like there hasn't been a good Drago model, so that's what that is. Going on with creatures, we also have a Kraken model, which I wanted to remake my Kraken model, so that's what I did. Here it is. It looks good, doesn't it? Doesn't it? All right. The other thing that I worked on this year was some new maps. So I was doing a village area with like the mayor's house and stuff like that with some cliffside. So there's a bunch of images of that. This was really fun to develop. I did it in a couple of days. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I did a new version of Crossroads. So there's two images of Crossroads. I did a whole new Yondo Inn. So that's what this is. This was really cool. That's one of the things that I've really wanted to make, and I'm glad I was able to because it looks fantastic. The last and very last thing is great scale. This is great scale. I didn't end up actually finishing this map. A good amount of it, I'd say probably about 60% was done. I don't know, my percentages are always crazy and off. Basically, everything was done, but the actual village of great scale wasn't finished yet. So I ended up stopping working on it and decided to work on other stuff. But yeah, I have a great scale type of thing. So, if you've watched through the entire video, you've come to this. This is the end of the 2024 recap. I'm really happy with a lot of the stuff that I've been able to develop this past year, and I can't wait for 2025. We're already in 2025, but, you know, like, I can't wait to see what I'll be able to make. Yeah, I just really proud of myself, and I really wanted to show you guys everything I've been working on, because I'm not usually the best at communicating exactly what I'm working on most of the time, but I have been working on a ton of stuff in my spare time. Um, what else? Oh yeah. So of course, if you want to continue following my work, well, before I even get to that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed looking at all this type of stuff. If you want to see more content like this, tell me. I try and post this stuff piecemeal. It's hard for me to make videos as I have a very limited amount of time now that I am working full time. So, yeah, but I'll try and keep everyone updated with stuff like that. If you want to follow my work and keep up to see what I'm doing, because I'll post stuff, I'm on Twitter. Blue Sky, and Instagram. I mostly post now on Blue Sky rather than Twitter. I'll still tweet on Twitter, but I don't really post too much visual stuff on Twitter anymore. Of course, if you want to follow the production of City of Sound, there is a Discord link down below. There's links for all this stuff in the comments below. Not comments, description. I'm tired. But if you want to follow me or check out any of the stuff that I'm working on, or you just want to come and say hi, or you want some modeling tips or something like that, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to help. I don't have too much time, but I'll help out. I'll help out. But yeah, I'm not really good at ending videos like at all. So here's to 2025. I can't wait to see what I'm able to create and show to you guys. So I'll see you when I see you. Bye bye.